James has booked us a 24-hour test drive, so that's where we're heading now, off into Leicester to BMW to go and pick it up, and then we're going to bring it home, and then we're going to have a little drive around, aren't we?
We are.
Tonight, and then just have a bit of a go with it and see what it's like. What's the range on it?
I think the last time we drove on was about 100 miles, wasn't it? That was the...
Without the range extender.
Yeah, so this one's a little bit heavier, so I suppose it depends on how you drive it, but I think we got 100 miles quite easily, didn't we?
Yeah.
And
It was a
drove it
nice
quite
car.
hard.
Nice car, wasn't it?
Really nice car.
So, I don't know if it'll have changed much since we've driven it. It's about 2 years. Just before we got the Leaf. We got the Leaf in June 2014, I think.
Yeah, we were thinking about getting an i3. It's just the waiting list was so long. We ended up opting for a Leaf because the factory orders were 6 weeks, I think, weren't they?
Yeah,
So
pretty much.
Yeah.
BMW were talking about us not getting one for probably about 8 months.
Yeah.
So it's a long wait. So that's where we're going.
Hello. We've picked up the BMW i3. This is the range extender model. We have driven an i3 before, but not this one. Quite a high spec one. It's got everything on it. Just about everything you'd want anyway. Out of a car. The thing that stands out for me the most in this car is the wind noise from the sunroof is one. Is the regen. The regen is fantastic. Absolutely 1 foot driving, whereas the Leaf you really do have to use the brake, especially when you want to come to a full stop. But on the i3 you don't. The i3 will bring you to a complete stop, which is nice little touch.
It's really heavy, really strong, really strong.
Re-strong?
Re-strong.
Re-strong.
It's really strong regenerative braking.
It is, and also it puts the brake lights on, which is nice. So, like we were saying, 173 brake horsepower, absolutely more than enough power than what you'd need. You don't need any more power than that.
It's really, really pokey as well, like you said. It's when you put your foot down, it's a bit of a shock because we're used to the Leaf. And the turning on it, I can feel already. I don't know what you call it really.
Turning circle.
Turning circle, yeah, I suppose. Why has it got skinny tyres?
I think it's for efficiency. It's a smaller footprint, so it's less drag. A lot of the drag that you get is from the road, not just the wind and gravity and stuff like that.
It does feel quite different turning wise when you turn the wheel.
There's a Leaf.
No,
It feels quite tight, doesn't it? I don't know if
Yeah.
that's because it's really new or if that's a design feature.
James is having a drive now. I've just been driving it for a good probably half hour, 40 minutes or so, I guess. And we talked a bit earlier about, I mentioned the turning and the steering on it, and I have to say actually, I'm not a massive fan. It's really reactive, the steering. You turn it and it is instant, and it's almost too skittish. Is that the right word?
Yeah, I think that's a good word.
It feels a bit skittish.
My best description of it is it doesn't sort of self-centralise. You seem to be making micro adjustments to get it to go in a straight line. If you take your hand off the steering wheel, it just goes. Oh, it's a pigeon. It sort of doesn't angle. It doesn't go straight down the road, and you're constantly adjusting it, touching it. just minute adjustments to try and keep it in a straight line, which is kind of annoying. You don't seem to be able to just relax.
No, you can't relax as much. That's true.
Well, I'm not sure if it's just the steering rack's new and very tight, or if it's a design feature. But
It's definitely not as relaxing the drive.
well, the Leaf wasn't like that when we got it brand new, was it? So.
But also with corners and stuff, although it does have a really tight turning circle, and the Leaf actually doesn't. It's not a very good one at all. And James is just flooring it. It is fast. That is one thing I'll say about it. It's fast. But yeah, if you can go really quickly in a straight line, just driving straight line. You go up to a corner and you have to slow right down. You have to pull it back, right back, so you can get around the corner. It's not as good as I initially thought it was on corners. Because of the steering, isn't it? And because of those thin tyres, I think.
Yeah, I don't trust it. I don't trust to put it into a corner like I would the Leaf.
No.
And it weighs less than the Leaf. But I think that
It might be something you can get used to, but I don't think it just doesn't feel as nice. It isn't as relaxing a drive. I think you're right.
that is the one point that we can find with it that we're not a fan of.
Yeah.
Everything else, however,
It's amazing.
it's absolutely amazing. It is really efficient. I can see the way that the range indicator is dropping in comparison to what the Leaf does, and it's a lot slower. It's using up less energy to travel, if you like. And
Really nice interior.
it is, and it's recycled. And to be fair, the back of the dashboard that you can't see between the windscreen and the infotainment display is it's completely recycled. I wouldn't say it looks amazing, but it doesn't matter. It never gets used for anything, does it?
It's got character.
It's a big waste of space.
It's a very big dashboard. That's the only thing about it.
It is.
It's quite deep. From the steering wheel to the windscreen, you're quite a way away.
Yeah.
But the front of the car is really stubby, short.
It is.
So and it's a bit quirky, with the back doors and stuff. How they open out sort of the wrong way, don't they?
People say, you can't get out in parking spaces in Asda and things, but to be fair,
What they say that about this?
yeah, but they because if you've got passengers, they say that you have to open this door first, then that door, and then you're trapped between the two doors
Okay.
when they open.
You just
But
shut them
actually,
again.
yeah, that's not true. If you've got half a brain, you can think yourself through that situation.
Yeah.
And anyone who's got a 3-door car, like I have, although my daughter uses it, the doors are like wings. They are when you're in a parking space in Asda and you open those, you can't get out. You literally squeeze through the gap, pressing your face against the door, and these just aren't a problem. They aren't a problem.
No, alright. It's got plenty of room, leg room in the back, and headroom's alright. It's a bit of a two-sat in it. And James has got a long back, as we've probably mentioned before.
Yeah, long back, long neck, massive ears.
Yeah. They all fit in.
They do, yeah. Both ears.
At the same time.
Yeah.
So I think the other thing we were going to test and we were going to have a go with was the range extender, and we just had a quick play now, but we couldn't work out whether we could hear it or not. Sorry, bad camera back. We couldn't work out whether we could hear it or not, and I mean my hearing's not great anyway, so but we're just not sure.
I can hear it, but only when I really concentrated on it. Once you get moving and you get road noise, you can't hear it at all. But I can flick it on because I've got it ready. The regen is phenomenal.
It is phenomenal. It just stops you.
Just gets every single little bit back that it can.
Getting used to it is quite tricky, actually.
Let's see if we can fire that up. Whole state of charge. So I can feel that. I can feel the range extenders come on, and I can feel the resonation through the floor. Only a tiny bit, but it's definitely there. But you can't hear it, can you?
No. I think James, I've just said, is a bit more tuned into that kind of thing than I am, because I can't tell a difference at all, how it feels or how it sounds. So yeah, I think we were worried, weren't we, that it was going to be noisy.
I think we were, yeah. I'm worried that it's. The other thing is as well is switch off just like any hybrid or any car with stop start on it, so you won't be sat at traffic lights. I think the Vauxhall Ampera is one that does it. It's got a 1400 engine sitting there revving away when you're sat at the traffic lights, and an owner of an Ampera told me that it did that. I think that would be a bit strange when it's sat at traffic lights with the engine going revving away. But this one just switches off, which is what you'd expect it to do. So yeah.
So we've driven across the motorway and we're now in the northbound services at Leicester Forest East, and it seems to be charging, so fingers crossed and toes. It's not stopped yet and we're now on 7 miles.
8 miles.
8 miles just gone. So, and it stopped at 3 over the other way, so hopefully it was just something to do with the charger and nothing to do with the car, which is nice because we didn't want to have to put petrol in it really if we could help it. So so that's all good.
Another thing that is a problem with this car is the availability of the CCS charging. It's just not as available as AC and DC quick charging. Although there are a lot of CCS chargers around, there's nowhere near as many CCS as there is AC and DC, which is a bit strange because they sell a lot of these cars, and it would be amazing if they all just sung by the same sheet, and just fitted the same charging socket. But and the Chevy Bolt as well, which is coming over, which is also it's also going to have CCS, which is a bit of a fail. AC, I know CCS is a combination of both, but having the AC is good. But CCS as a whole, if you can't rapid charge, then you're as good as, well, you're not restricted. You're just restricted on time. I mean, your distance that you travel is going to be restricted by massive waits to try and recharge the car. But all in all, this is a really nice car to drive.
Apart from the steering.
Apart from the glitchy steering, would you have one? Would you have one preference to the Leaf?
No.
Even if you had this as an option when we bought the Leaf? Because we looked at this, we nearly bought one of these. The reason we didn't is because the waiting list was about 8 months.
I don't remember the steering being quite like that when we test drove it 2 years ago, and I wonder if it's because I've got so used to the Leaf, actually, that it feels so different now.
Sorry about the camera.
But I don't know. That for me is something that really puts me off this car. Everything else I really like about it. I like the way it looks, I like the doors, I like the inside, I like the quickness of it, the speed of it, I love the regen, but that steering for me is it's a bit of a pain.
Yeah, the one thing about the Leaf is it feels like a car.
Yeah, and you can just drive it and it's relaxing.
Yeah.
And you talked about the wheels, didn't you, and what we could do to make it better. But
yeah, I've seen on the internet you get some spacers and slightly widen the footprint of the car to give you a bit more control and slightly lower the centre of gravity a little bit. Although it is quite low anyway. I wonder what actually putting some spacers on some bigger wheels would do, just to give that stability. But then the idea of having the thin wheels is less resistance and to try and raise the efficiency levels. And this car is very efficient.
There's got to be a compromise though between that and it actually being nice and a pleasure to drive, which the Leaf is.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure to drive, and okay, it might have a lower range, but it's so relaxing. You just forget you're driving sometimes. Whereas with this one, I didn't get that at all. And the Kia I did. I got that with the Kia.
Kia was a great car.
Just really chilled out to drive.
Just bloody expensive.
Bloody expensive.
Yeah.
But easy to drive, easy to steer, none of that skittishness. And I think until you have a go in one of these, you perhaps won't understand what we're meaning. But that's the best way I can describe it. We're just taking the BMW back now. So I said to James earlier, actually, he feels that he's really got used to the sort of the steering, which I wasn't too keen on. He feels like he's got used to that a little bit and he quite likes it. So I think, and I said to him, I feel like I've not really driven it enough to know. Like I wish I'd had a bit more of an opportunity. Perhaps I would have got used to it myself, but I think that is still, without banging on about it too much, for me that is still the one thing which puts me off this car. So, but we'll see. I mean, they're bringing out a new one. They're bringing out a new BMW i3 with a slightly higher range. You know, perhaps we need to do another test drive at some point, and maybe on a day when I'm actually off work, and then we can have a bit more of a play with it, where I'm able to drive it a bit more and see if I do get used to it. So yeah, all in all though, it's a really nice car. I got back in the Leaf this morning after driving this yesterday, and it feels really spacious. This car is so spacious in the front, and I got back in the Leaf and it felt small and kind of a bit claustrophobic after being in here really, but I still love the Leaf. I think that's definitely a positive on this car. The space in the front is amazing. Perhaps slightly compromised by, you know, compromising really with the space in the back, but there we go. So yep, we're on our way back and going to drop it off and then home in the Leaf.